West Coast Conference, it's always the event of the year when Gonzaga comes to town, and the Zags are at Santa Clara tonight as we bring you once again the Thursday Night Showcase presented by T. Rowe Price, all part of Judgment Week. Welcome to the South Bay, right next to San Jose, California. Tonight, another tough road challenge for number 17 Gonzaga as they take on Santa Clara. Already, the Bulldogs have clinched the regular season title in the West Coast Conference for the 9th year in a row. That means they have a bye into the semis of the conference tournament. It's either Portland or St. Mary's that will get the other bye, and we're only days away from the first time the WCC tournament will be played on a neutral floor. There are worse places to be in March than Las Vegas. Right now, we're at Santa Clara. We welcome you here. I'm Bob Wischusen here with Adrian Branch. Thanks so much for spending part of your night with us. You know, we just saw Memphis beat UAB. They are undefeated in their conference. Gonzaga, the only other team in America undefeated. They're 12-0 going for win number 13 tonight.
Yeah, and it's what they've been doing. They're doing it with consistency. They've been doing it with teamwork, and there's a hunger. They know that they're playing for seeding right now. They've locked up the regular season conference, but it's all about momentum going into the postseason.
I'm assuming you just said something. I can't hear anything. This place is jumping as we take a look at our star watch and two excellent centers in this conference.
Well, this is going to be a clash of the Titans. Josh Heifeld is a mobile 6'11" big guy that can get out and run and shoot three-pointers. But John Bryant is a throwback post player, likes to do his damage inside the paint, has extremely long arms for rebounding and blocking shots.
As we take a look at the starting lineups, what a season it's been again for Matt Bolden. I know you've circled him on your chart.
Oh, 6'5", and he's a tough matchup in conference. He's strong. He can score from the inside and outside, but it's all about the confidence that they have. And again, the big M word, momentum. You want momentum. For Kevin Foster, the freshman, he's been thrown into the fire. He scored over 20 points in his last game, and he's just what the doctor ordered offensively, knowing now this time of year when to take a good shot and when to dump it inside to the big fella.
Again, one of the big headlines in college basketball is that there are two teams that are still undefeated in conference play. Gonzaga one, Memphis the other. Here's some other big headlines this week. Congratulations to Jim Calhoun, the 7th coach to reach 800 wins. A tough blow, though, for Marquette without Dominique James for the rest of the season. And another one bites the dust. How many times have we seen a team reach number one only to lose within a couple of weeks, and it happened to Pitt?
Hey, was that a play on word? Another one bites the dust, but it's been unsteady at number one.
I wish I could take credit for it, but it was actually right there on the screen. Set for basketball at Santa Clara. Heifeld wins the top. We're underway. Gonzaga at 21-5, number 17 in America. Santa Clara, they began the season 7-13, but they're 7-2 in their last 9. They got drilled by Gonzaga when they met them back in mid-January, but they've been a different team since, but we've seen that all season long from this team. Austin Day from outside.
Well, you heard Kerry Keating, their head coach, saying quite simply their keys: don't turn the ball over. If they can keep it under 12 turnovers, then they've got to win the battle of the floor.
Nice backdoor look as Mark Trasolini scores the first points for Santa Clara.
Good ball movement by Gonzaga, but excellent defense without fouling.
What a save by Heifeld. 10 on the shot clock still for the Zags. Day tries again. He's 2 for 2.
That's the matchup where you were talking about earlier. Who's going to guard Austin Day? He's a bailout guy when he can get elevation and separation anywhere on the floor with the shot clock running down.
Kerry Keating in his 2nd year at Santa Clara, and he talked to us earlier today about what he thought the most important factors in tonight's game were, and we'll chart them. Obviously, when you go up against Gonzaga, you have to out-rebound them or at least stay close. He said 12 or less turnovers. His team is 7th worst in the nation in terms of turning the ball over. And there's one right there. Santa Clara averages 16.5 turnovers a game.
Well, what happens when you turn it over? They start running downhill, getting out, going fast, and you can't give Gonzaga a running start.
Well, you want to know why Gonzaga is such a great road team? Starts like this.
Absolutely, but it's confidence. And again, for Gonzaga, Santa Clara doesn't have a mental edge over them. They feel like they can come out and get what they want. For a good team that's favored, you have to start fast.
Trasolini's got all 4 points for Santa Clara. Bolden tries and connects.
But too easy right now. They're getting anything they want. And when you see a jump shooter pose for a picture, you know that his shot is uncontested. So far, all of Gonzaga's shots have been uncontested.
Haven't had a missed shot yet. Foster gets shut down inside by Downs. Heitfeld jump hook uses the window. Boy, it is Pleasantville so far. Neither team has missed yet. 12-4 Gonzaga has the lead early. And we'll take a quick timeout with 17:24 to go in the first half. See if Kerry Keating's team can get themselves together.
So we're shooting in China.
No. No.
So we're shooting in Argentina.
I don't hate this.
Good? Hey, I'm the producer. I just make it happen. And did I mention it's a film about Parisian squirrels who ride bikes?
Josh Heitfeld averages 15 a game, and he's off to a good start for Gonzaga.
Well, this is what we talked about in the opening, a big guy that can run the floor, and he can spot up. Now, he's got good size, but he's a finesse center where he stretches out, can shoot three-pointers, and that's an asset. Brings John Bryant away from the basket.
Let's see if on this possession, finally Santa Clara works it down low to Bryant.
Well, he's going to be playing in the crowd. They're going to try to double team him, big guy to big guy. Right now it's one-on-one coverage.
It's time up, under, and around Heitfeld for his first basket.
Big man camp, one-on-one with the step through. You had showed the ball, went through the step through, high percentage shot at the basket.
Day floats one up, can't get it to go, and there's the first rebound for Bryant. Foster, off the glass.
Scorer's mentality when you didn't see the basket and it was still good, having a good feel for where he is on the court. That's what he's expanded. Kerry Keating saying when a freshman has played over 500 minutes, he doesn't consider them a freshman anymore at this point in the season.
Argo inside, all of a sudden turn around, saw Bryant, and finds Bolden, who knocks down a three.
Well, everything's clicking right now for Gonzaga. Pargo posting up, then you're passing it out. Micah down, swinging it around. Heitfeld right now offensively, everything is clicking for Gonzaga.
That jumper won't go. Trasolini, though, keeps it alive on the offensive glass. A new shot clock for Santa Clara.
It's a good hustle. I don't like that decision, though. Pass it inside. Give the big fella a repost. If he throws it back out, give him another chance to post up again.
Catching it a long way away from the bucket, though. Heitfeld flops. The officials don't go for it. It's knocked out of bounds by Bryant. It looked like Austin Day may have got his hand in between the hands of Bryant and knocked it out. We've got a timeout on the floor. Inside it goes to John Bryant. You have to think all night long.
Well, he's nimble, but he plays with a chip on his shoulder. Range right there. Gonzaga up fast.
Back at Santa Clara, where Gonzaga has won their last 8 games, and they're off to a 7-point lead here in the first half. And Judgment Week, let's take a look at Gonzaga's tournament resume as we close in on Selection Sunday.
Well, what you look at, the conference is fantastic, 12-0. You can't get any better than that. And the RPI is respectable at 39. The strength of schedule is not that strong at 104. But even if they didn't win the conference, one question you ask, are they one of the top 34 teams? And I would say yes, you look at them in the 3rd or 4th seed. They should get something out west.
Blocking foul called on Ben Dowdell. The crowd thought that Day may have got his elbow up. Let's take a look. And it looked like the left elbow did get up around the chin of Dowdell.
Well, actually, he ran right into him. He's moving fast. Oh, that elbow got up there high.
That's an offensive foul.
Are you starting early, Bob?
I don't think there's any doubt there's an offensive foul.
Ah, that was a forearm shiver. That was good for wrestling.
It's going to be an Adrian Branch kind of game if you can take your left elbow and stick it in the cheek of your defender.
Hawaii named dropping now.
The window won't work for Heitfeld. Keeping it alive, though, is Day. Maybe he's one of those guys where he says, hey, let's shoot some baskets in between rounds. Let's hang out at the gym for a second. All of a sudden it goes from shooting baskets to you backing us down, knocking us into the photographer's row.
You're suffering jet lag.
Pargo uses the window beautifully.
I like the decision by Pargo to use his size and strength down low and just elevate. When you get 5-10 feet from the basket, raise up and get a good shot. And for the Broncos, they got to run their offense through John Bryant.
That is way outside for Kevin Foster. He was 5 feet behind the line.
Well, he's been shooting it well. That's their 1-2 punch.
Quick answer won't go for Gonzaga. Tipped around, nice look by Pargo. Underneath, they work it to Heitfeld. Touch pass, and Downs gets the assist.
Well, right now, the blue jerseys are so much more active than the white jerseys. For Gonzaga, they're controlling this game by playing fast, and that's what they want to do. They want to speed the game up. They don't want the Broncos to control the tempo.
Foster tries again. Got another three.
Bob, this young man is comfortable coming off screens, raising up. Good look.
Day catches inside, then loses it. Taken away by Perry Petty.
Got to keep moving, setting screens. Can't get stagnant on the offense. Gonzaga's too quick.
Rehan behind the back with 6 to shoot. They get it deep to Bryant. He can't hit.
Good shot. I like him down on the post. He plays with a purpose. He's not hesitant with his move.
Pargo penetrates, hangs, and hits.
You're seeing a mature performance by Jeremy Pargo. He's dialed in, focusing, remembering that it's a lot at stake beyond just regular season. They're playing for seeding, a good seeding out here in the tournament.
Gonzaga's made 8 of their first 11 shots.
Well, they're good shots, too. They're moving the ball around. It's a sharp, crisp offense, and they're not letting the Broncos get comfortable.
A foul in the corner. Rehan's going to shoot 3 free throws after Kevin Foster hit back-to-back triples.
Good ball movement right here. Of course, what do? Knocking it down, that expands the offense, and that's good. When you're able to make shots outside, eventually John Bryant can be that dominating force without a lot of traffic. But Pargo's using his quickness and strength. I like him going north to south.
Rehan, only a freshman. Kevin Foster, the point guard, only a freshman as he comes up short on his first free throw attempt. But talking to Kerry Keating today, he thinks that Rehan averaging about 11 a game, Foster averaging 14 a game, the way that they'll play next year speed-wise once John Bryant leaves, that they could both be 20-point-a-game scorers in conference. And there have been some terrific freshmen this season. Let's take a look at some of the freshmen that have made a big impact for Santa Clara.
Absolutely, and all of them are needed right now. And again, where you're saying they're going to change the style up, they're going to play up-tempo style, but they slow it down because of Big John. That's a compliment to the freshmen. They're learning, and they're playing with good composure at home.
Olden penetrates, has it stripped away, then off his foot, out of bounds. 21-16, Gonzaga has the lead. There are some terrific young guards on this Santa Clara team, but that's the best guard to ever wear the Broncos uniform. We'll take a closer look at the collegiate career of Steve Nash next. Hey, it's just a tremendous success story. Second all-time in assists, a 2-time Conference Player of the Year. AP honorable mention All-American as a senior, and earlier this season had his number retired. is heir apparent. The freshman Kevin Foster hits another jumper.
Kevin Foster right now is lights out. The pressure is not bothering him, and he's not wasting time with any indecision, just raising up, having a sweet stroke. Good release.
Air ball inside from Austin Day. Keeping it alive, though, is Gray. 6 on the shot clock. Ball didn't hit the rim, so Pargo has to go to work and quick. I'm not sure he realizes it. Shot clock down to 1. It's at 0. Shot clock violation. Day threw up an air ball, and Gonzaga never reacted.
Yeah, you always got to be aware of time and score. And also a teammate, somebody like Gray's got to let him know that the shot clock is running down. Now, John Bryant went out. He got a rest. Let's see if he'll get some more touches down low in the paint, because he's confident enough that he's comfortable that he feels he can score in Highfield.
Instead, another try for Foster. And that one hit the backboard first. In transition, it's Pargo.
A missed shot is just like a turnover if you don't have good balance. And what does Gonzaga do? They simply run out on you. So even for the Broncos, when they take a shot, you've got to have good defensive balance.
Now it goes down to Bryant. Put it on the deck, and Gray swiped it away. He brought it down low, and that made Gray a much taller player. Austin Day. And the rebound pulled down by Bryant.
Austin Day is going to be a fabulous player once that body matures and he strengthens up.
Follow up inside by Trasolini after Foster missed.
Another one of the freshmen that you're talking about, where they've got high hopes for him to develop this summer, getting him in here, strengthening his body, getting him some more shots.
For 3. Santa Clara could potentially tie. Nice up and under move. Petty couldn't get it to go, but the follow is put home.
How about the drive? Excellent job by Petty, under control in traffic.
Whitefeld fades away. A chance for Santa Clara to take the lead. Rayhan gets the baseline. Reverse won't go.
One thing about Gonzaga, they have 5 scorers. Everyone on their team can score from their position.
Blocked by Bryant. Took it away from Highfield.
Well, both post players are playing each other one-on-one. No double team.
Rayhan from the corner. I think Kerry Keating wants his team to play slower. Mark Few calls timeout, but Kerry Keating, I think, was yelling to his team, slow it down, as Perry Petty pushed it up the floor again. Isn't, if Santa Clara pushes it and pushes tempo, playing into Gonzaga's hands?
Well, it gets comfortable to you. You're down by 1. You've been knocking down some shots, and you're making plays like this on the drive. But again, you want to recognize that your bread and butter is a half court, is throwing the ball into Bryant and playing off of him. Also for Foster, he's knocking down some pretty good shots off on a quick start.
Judgment Week in men's college basketball continues on ESPN Saturday, first at noon. Georgetown and number 12 Villanova in the Big East. And then at 9 Eastern, number 19 UCLA will take on Cal. It's a tough finish this year for Cal. They have a backloaded schedule, and they've got number 19 UCLA at 9 Eastern on Saturday night. Men's college basketball, all part of Judgment Week on ESPN on Saturday. And Ronnie Turia, former Gonzaga forward, in the crowd tonight.
You know, it's interesting. You look at a big guy, and Boris Diaw, Charlotte Bobcats. You know what's interesting about big guys so far is there's no fouls on them. So you get a chance to expand the defensive pressure, which is good. There's no fouls on Highfield or on John Bryant. Broncos defense is trying to stiffen up and not give open shots. Everything is being contested right now.
Holden has to shoot the 3 on the shot clock. Bryant ends up with the rebound.
Yeah, they're a good half-court team, and you see them slowing down, just what you're talking about. You get lost in the game, the offense is flowing for you, but this is their bread and butter this season, half-court offense.
Foster from way outside. Can't hit. And it stays with Santa Clara. A one-point game. Number 17 Gonzaga on the road in a tussle with the Broncos. Under 8 minutes to go in the first half. All right, Will, welcome back to the Thursday Night Showcase presented by T. Rowe Price, part of Judgment Week, a one-point game. Gonzaga on top of Santa Clara. And we saw Kerry Keating working hard earlier today at practice. What do you think he thought of this shot by Kevin Foster?
Well, right now, that's a bad shot. That's not a good shot because the big fella doesn't get any touches. And this is where he's talking to him. Right here off the court, he's like, look, you got to know when to take your shots. You're going to get any shots you want, but swing it around. And that's just a freshman and knowing to win. And right here earlier, he's talking to his team. It's teaching. He's like, fellas, look at the spacing. Look at the time. Look at the score. That's knowing the win. You're getting your money's worth from your coach trying to instruct earlier today.
Well, Kerry Keating has had some wonderful mentors, and Kevin Foster, his freshman product at the point guard spot. He told us earlier today that Foster gave everything up, whether it was unconsciously or consciously. Subjugated his ego, subjugated his playing style when he came, and has remade himself as a player. The fastest turnaround he's ever seen as a coach in any player. He saw in his freshman point guard this season as John Bryant finally scores his second bucket.
Well, the young man has some character. He has some poise. He's a team guy, and it's easy to coach a guy that's willing to learn, and that's the case. They're just freshmen. They're taking shots, but they've got to learn a good feel for the game.
Bryant comes over and fouls Micah Downs.
First foul for John Bryant. Now, he's lost a lot of weight, and he hasn't been getting in foul trouble because he's mobile, and he's been playing good position defense this season.
Only the third foul called collectively between both teams in the first 13 minutes, and it's been a pretty physical game. Downs can't hit, and we said Kerry Keating has coached under some great basketball minds, and here's a look.
Yeah, it's interesting. He said P.J. Carlissimo, it was defense. Dave Odom, honesty. Van Bredekoff, offensive genius, and every coach had a deposit on him, and he's reflective of that in his own coaching style. It was interesting, a nice little family lineage right there, coaching lineage.
The latest of which was under Ben Howland at UCLA before getting the Santa Clara job.
One-track mind, just want to win.
A block by Heitfeld. Numbers for Gonzaga. Gray, nice catch at midcourt. The ball was a bit behind him. He was able to adjust, stay in stride, and Gonzaga's got the lead back.
Now, if the Broncos are aware of it, and I know Kerry Keating is, every time there's been a missed shot or a turnover, Gonzaga has their track shoes on, and they're getting out of there for easy shots.
It fades away and connects.
I like what I see in Big John. He's got a soft touch, and he's got long extension. He's got elevation. He's deceiving with his release point. You don't see a shot getting blocked.
Holden down the lane, challenges Bryant, and Bryant called for his second foul.
Big John taking his time right there in the post and raising up. Look at that extension right there. Not a lot of guys will block that shot. He's not the quickest guy. He's not the most handsome basketball player out there. His style will never make a good-looking contest, but he's effective.
Well, Bryant just called for his second foul, and now he'll have to sit down. Ben Dowdell will come on and replace him.
We look at this conference, and for Gonzaga, they have so many weapons they can keep coming at you. They have Micah Downs, they have Heitfeld, they have Jeremy Pargo. So in this conference, they score from different people.
Foster plus the foul.
it's plays like this where their coach Keating says that this young man Foster can be a 20-point scorer next season because the offense will run through them and they'll play an up-tempo game. He's got the confidence. He's got the willingness. If he misses a shot, he's coming back, and he's going to look for it again on the next play.
That's his 431st point this season. The previous freshman scoring record at Santa Clara was 414 points by Kurt Rambis.
An old teammate of mine.
And a takeaway by Foster. 3-on-2 for Santa Clara. The lay-in is good. Michael Santos gets it to go. The largest lead for the Broncos.
Now, it's not a shock for the Broncos to play good defense. They're willing. They will stick their nose in there and try to defend and try to contest you. Good defense on this possession.
Bolden gets fouled inside.
Yeah, there's good team defense helping. Foster comes out, he's been scoring, but also active on the defensive end, and then being able to finish in traffic.
Calvin Johnson called for that last foul. That's his first. Matt Bolden, who has been the most consistent player for Gonzaga all season long, according to Mark Few. You would have thought it would have been Jeremy Pargo, but it really has been Bolden.
Well, for Bolden, he's insulated in what he has to do. He's not the primary ball handler, and he doesn't have to rebound, his biggest responsibility. Just play an all-around game, catch it and shoot it, and be tough defensively, and he's been able to focus in, to zoom in consistently to do that.
Day back in, Bolden sits down. You know what Mark Few said? I remember talking to him earlier this year. I said, describe what Bolden is, or what you thought you were getting when you got him. And he said, basically, we thought we were getting the next Blake Stepp. And that's exactly what he's turned out to be. If you look at his production and the kind of player he is in terms of efficiency, they got the next Blake Stepp.
Yeah, exactly, and he's created his own niche. He's got a toughness about him, an attitude about him, and he can do that all in the team setting.
Aldell challenges Heitfeld. Heitfeld takes it away. Heitfeld lays it in off the feed from Pargo. And just like that, Gonzaga answers, and they take the lead back.
The last time you and I were together when Gonzaga was playing Portland, Pargo was not going consistently in the middle. Since that month, he has gone consistently driving in and attacking on every possession. For the Broncos, they've got to continue to score. They can't go into an offensive lull.
Foster throws it away on the baseline. Friday night, ESPN has an NBA doubleheader for you. First at 7 Eastern, it's Detroit and Orlando. We'll see the answer in Dwight Howard. And then at 9:30 Eastern, LeBron and Tim Duncan as Cleveland and San Antonio do battle. NBA Friday on ESPN, also on ESPN360.com.
The starters for Gonzaga have been logging in some big minutes so far.
Aldell jumped over the top of Heitfeld and gambled a bit rather than staying in position. And that gave Heitfeld the easy two.
Well, you don't have a margin of error. John Bryan is not back there to defend and eat up space. So if you go for a steal and miss it, that's going to be the sum total.
Brasilini stripped away again by Heitfeld. Pargo, coast to coast. Heitfeld follows. They wanted basket interference. Kerry Keating is livid on the Santa Clara sideline.
Now, if you're a young guy at home watching Jeremy Pargo, he has a strong dribble in traffic, pounds that ball hard. You don't see him getting the ball stripped in the open floor at full speed. I like how he's got that hard machine gun dribble in traffic.
A foul called on Pargo, well away from the ball, holding Foster on the baseline. So Heitfeld makes the defensive play, and then you be the judge if it's basket interference at the other end.
Well, this is a good strip right here, showing them the basketball. You got to be quick with it. Getting out running. Let's see if it's off the rim. Let the big guys go. 2 points. Count it.
We've had some injuries in the West Coast Conference this season as well. Some really notable names. Of course, last year's West Coast Conference Tournament Player of the Year. Brandon Johnson went down for San Diego, and then Patty Mills, of course, breaks his hand against Gonzaga.
Yeah. Well, Robert Sacre coming back. It looks like he's trying that left foot. Remember that broke. And Coach Mark Few was saying he's the difference. If we have him, we have a shot at going deep into the playoffs because he's a power guy. He can block out, he can rebound, and he's tough. That's a piece they're missing, and he was honest about that.
And he's really struggling, I think, with the decision as to whether or not to bring him back. An offensive foul called on Mark Trasolini, and that's his first. And I guess the decision is, if you bring Sacre back and things don't work out, the moment he plays a game in the second half of the season, you burn any chance of a red shirt. They could redshirt him and save an entire season of eligibility. That's a tough decision because this is obviously a team that with Sacre, you know, as that physical presence inside, might have Final Four capability.
Well, that's why I said they were a Final Four team. That's offense there. That's why I said they were a Final Four team, because he can play with Austin Day and he can play with Josh Heifeld. But as big as they are, especially Josh Heifeld, they're a finesse team. Sacre has the mindset that he's the biggest and toughest guy in the paint. I liked what I saw when he was working out. But if he's not ready yet, then you've got to go with that red shirt.
That was Austin Day's first, and the fourth team foul on Gonzaga here in the first half. Foster for three. Off the mark. That is a deep contested shot. Gray, the hit ahead for Day. Too far.
Well, for Foster, when he makes it, it looks good. When he doesn't, then you've got four guys looking around. So it's a high risk, high reward for him. You also want to look at it, seeing if you can get to the free throw line. You just don't want to romance that three-point shot.
Foster's been in double figures 19 times this season.
Well, he'll get a shot, so you don't have to worry about if you'll get your shots. You just want to make sure you're taking good shots.
Shot clock down to 10. Foster spins with the shot clock at 6. It's Rehan. Rehan drives it, gets the bounce.
That was a better possession by Santa Clara, moving around side to side and making Gonzaga play some defense. Not bailing them out, taking a quick bad shot.
Day left alone. And it's over to Santa Clara as Bolden comes back on for Gonzaga. He'll replace Micah Downs. Again, the big story here in the first half, John Bryant. It was questionable as to whether or not he picked up a second personal foul, but there he is on the bench. He's got 22 double-doubles this season, tied for most in the country with Blake Griffin, and his team is hanging in with Gonzaga with him on the bench with 2 fouls.
Well, right away when he got it in the post, he took a look earlier in the game, and then he went to work. So he's comfortable out there, and I like what I see. There's no hesitation with a big guy in the post. One player we haven't seen for Gonzaga is Ira Brown. Remember, he's nursing an ankle injury.
Dowdell lost it, found by Petty. He'll shoot a 3. Dowdell keeps it alive. What a save. Rehan dribbles it out of trouble.
The value of an offensive rebound, the defense has to play defense again if you ran it down. You want to run that clock down some more. That slows takes the air off the ball some. Heifeld's got a mismatch if they can get it to him.
And he's fouled by Dowdell. Well, Kerry Keating told us 12 or fewer turnovers out-rebound Gonzaga, and they're on pace right now to be right around the number he said for both categories.
And without their star player, John Bryant, so they're holding the line right now. The question you have to ask, can they do this in the second half? Do they have that one gear to get a lead and take the lead?
Trasolini has it stripped away by Gray, and it stays with Santa Clara. Crowd was looking for a foul after the steal.
Well, that's the second time Trasolini's got the ball stripped. Excellent drive, and the white jerseys attacking the basket, help everywhere. But you got to be quick with that basketball. Go up strong. Know that they're going to be slapping down at the basketball.
John Bryant comes back in with his team in possession of the ball with 56 seconds to go before halftime. So
I've never seen out of bounds like this. I wonder how this is going to work.
Bryant fighting with Heitfeld for position. They lob it in instead to Trasolini. Ball kicked out by Pargo as Bryant had the position he would have wanted on Heitfeld, but again, they couldn't get it to him.
Well, that's that bulldozer position, using that body. Now, this is a risk because if he gets called for an offensive foul, that's 3 fouls.
Or a defensive foul if Gonzaga in the last 20 seconds has a possession and they go to Heitfeld.
Yeah, because that's what I would do. I'd go right at him.
Deep position for Bryant. Muscles it up and draws a foul. Judgment Week in men's college basketball continues on ESPN this Saturday. In the Big East, first at noon Eastern, Georgetown at number 12 Villanova. Then at 9 Eastern, we go to the Pac-10 for number 19 UCLA and Cal. The Bruins and Golden Bears wrap up a Judgment Week Saturday. Men's college basketball on ESPN coming up this weekend.
There's 2 things about a big guy that I love. If he has a go-to move, a jump hook, a drop step, and then if he can hit free throws, because you do your work on the court, on the low box, and then you get fouled. And I love that 1-2 combination.
That impresses me as much as anything else. He's a 76% free throw.
Oh, that's you can't ask for more. He did his job. He got a positive play, and then they got him out.
Scott Thompson comes back in to play defense for Santa Clara. About a 5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
Keep an eye on Matt Bolden. On the driving kick, he'll hit a shot. Also, Gray is confident to take a big shot.
Shot clock at 5. Game clock at 9. Pargo. Oh, that's a tough foul. Up top, Perry Petty gave it. It was a foul to give for Santa Clara. Only their 16th foul. So it forces Gonzaga into a side out with 8 seconds to go before halftime, and the shot clock now turned off.
Well, you want to play defense without fouling. And again, for your key guys like Foster, you don't want him to pick up a cheap foul.
Bolden penetrates, knocked away by Foster. 3 seconds to go. Here's Thompson. Can he get it off? He cannot.
Well, he didn't stumble and bumble over it. It was a good try. Good effort.
Scott Thompson had the ball, just trailing him a bit. Tough to ask the big guy while running to react and get the shot off in time, but you'll see it's well after the clock goes to all zeros that he finally does flip it up. It's at all zeros for a while. But Santa Clara, after all is said and done, down by only a point at halftime to Gonzaga. Now let's join Will Selva and Stephen Bardo standing by in our ESPN studios with the halftime report. Guys? Welcome back to Santa Clara, the Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. Bob Schuster and Adrian Branch watching a 1-point game between Gonzaga and Santa Clara. We are honorary members of the Rough Riders. Apparently tonight, we're right in the student section. You know what? This is great. It's great college basketball.
You might have to go sign language because I can't hear you, and I just got hit upside the head with the towel.
Well, Josh Heitfeld and John Bryant were our Star Watch players, the 2 centers in the first half, at least when Bryant stayed out of foul trouble and was on the floor, very effective as we take a look at our highlights.
Well, yeah, for the big guys, blocking shots, that's what you want, the last line of defense, and running the floor for Heitfeld. He got into this game, he got into a flow, and they were finding them. Big guys need some help, and watch this drive running the floor with the follow-up. Big-time effort in the first half. Now for John Bryant, he's got 8 points in 10 minutes. Foul trouble, but watch this beautiful up and under right there, point-blank range. And then again, that step right there, the step back, elevating for space. And then the defense right here, blocking shots without leaving the floor. He's a very good player, 2 big guys going. But look at this, you've got to reward the big guy. Last line of defense, He's going to throw it out, and then Pargo gets it and gets into the middle of the floor, which opens a running lane for Highfelt that's going to come right down the middle. Basic basketball, rewarding the big guy for running the floor. Excellent job.
Take a look at some of our first half numbers. Highfelt with 13, 8 assists and 8 total turnovers for Gonzaga. Not bad in the turnover department for Santa Clara with 6. Again, they average 16.5 turnovers a game. They are 7th worst in the country, but for the most part, they valued the ball in the first half. I would say one number, though, if you look at the box score that jumps off, 12 field goal attempts for Kevin Foster, only 5 for John Bryant. I have to imagine in the second half that Kerry Keating wants those numbers reversed.
Absolutely, and a bad shot is just as good, is just the same as a turnover.
Well, there's a good way to start. Instead of going inside to Bryant, it's outside to Calvin Johnson. And his 3 gives Santa Clara the lead right back.
That's what you want to do. You want to get this lead because you got the 6th man right behind us in our ear. You and I were the only ones outside taking a break from all this noise at halftime.
Pargo rejected by Bryant, and then Bryant goes after the loose ball. A quick trigger by Foster, a long contested 3 with no one underneath to rebound. That's another bad shot by Kevin Foster.
Yeah, and again, you've got to live with that because he's making shots for him. He's been your leading scorer, and it's not bothering him if he's missing shots or not. You got to clean that wet spot right there.
Day hits over Bryant.
If I'm scouting Austin Day, he gets most of his points off the dribble because his body can't take a big 250-pounder leaning on him, and he gets more space when he's able to drive into his shot.
Johnson tries another 3. A long rebound, Johnson runs it down. I can't imagine Santa Clara is going to have a lot of possessions in the second half that you would think of as successful if Bryant doesn't at least touch the ball. And again, he doesn't touch it. Foster drives and lays it home, though.
Well, when you make it, you can't argue with success, but it's high risk. Excellent patience by Gonzaga. They have to be because the Broncos are playing good defense.
Bolden hits a 3 with 5 on the shot clock.
Now, there's nothing you can do about that when you're elevating over your defender. But again, for the Broncos, they're taking Gonzaga out of the first, second, and third option.
4 of 6 from 3 for the Bulldogs.
Got him. Got to know when he's got him on his back.
Austin Day called for the foul.
His nickname is the microwave. Coming at you. But then Bolden hits this shot right here. Cozy release. Nothing but net.
Trying to repost.
Yeah, you missed him on the repost. You got to learn how to play with a big guy.
Now he gets it deep on Highfelt, fades away and connects. Highfelt uses glass beautifully.
But that's his shot. He doesn't mind you pushing him out to 13 feet because he'll kick it off the glass or shoot the jumper.
Goes back door, banks it home.
That assist should go to John Bryant for setting a screen where nobody can get around him. The value of a big guy with a good feet.
17 points for the freshman. Day drives it. A finger roll over John Bryant.
Right now, both teams are going toe-to-toe. And John Bryant keeps pounding into Highfelt. They're trying to establish dominance down low in the paint.
Salini with a line to the goal. And he scores. Highfelt stepped up to try and take the charge, and there was no call. Heitfeld spins right around Bryant, then Bryant blocks the shot, and a foul call. That's his third. That's a big call, as Bryant may have to sit down with 3 fouls. He's been tough in the post when they've gotten him touches deep. Although this last call will hurt Bryant severely. He's got 3 fouls. Oh, Will, the Thursday Night Showcase presented by T. Rowe Price has already seen 6 lead changes in the second half between Gonzaga and Santa Clara. Here's foul number 3 on John Bryant a moment ago.
Well, you want to get your money's worth. That's a good move to the baseline, and wasn't much there. Let the big guys play.
See, watch this angle, though. Watch the wrist of Heitfeld right there.
Oh, yeah, I mean.
That's a foul.
Yeah, I mean, touch foul. He's 275 pounds. Come on, man. I mean, let him boogie.
John Bryant, updated numbers, by the way. This includes tonight. Look at the improvement in terms of the number of fouls to minutes played from last season to this season. He's in foul trouble tonight, but he hasn't usually been so this season.
Well, this time last year, he was playing at 305 pounds. Now he's down to 275 pounds, and he's feeling lighter. His knees, his back isn't aching. And he said it when he was talking to us, that he feels more mobile, agile, and hostile. Remember the Titans.
Heitfeld ties the game at 46. Bryant on the bench with 3 fouls. That's something that Mark II doesn't have to worry about. He doesn't have a player with more than 1 personal foul so far tonight.
Well, most of the shots are coming up with Foster. He's got twice as many shots as any teammates, and most of them have been from the 3-point line.
Delaney with the left hand blocked inside by Heitfeld.
That's the 3rd time he's had a deflection or a block shot. He's got to be quick in the post with his move.
There's the position inside for Austin Day, fouled hard by Dowdell, and that's Dowdell's 3rd. So Dowdell in foul trouble, Bryant in foul trouble, and a chance to look at what Santa Clara is missing when they don't have John Bryant on the floor.
Well, one of the best kept secrets, 18 points. The stats are fantastic. 18 points, 13 rebounds, and then you have the double-doubles because he is working down low. But also, what I like is that he's playing with a purpose. When he gets inside, he feels like he can't be guarded, and you have to have that kind of attitude, that kind of confidence. The first play of the game, big game, national television, and he's coming to do work. I like what I saw in this young man.
Gonzaga now with the lead back. All right, so it's 48-46, 15 minutes to go. You're Kerry Keating. How long does he stay on the bench? Do you have a number in mind on the clock that you want to bring him back by?
As long as you can really keep him down there. If you get to the 7, 8 minute mark, because it's still a 2-point game, and then you have your closer. And remember, they're in this game because the turnover margin has been respectable on the rebound margin. And when you're able to make shots, that helps as well.
Shot clock at 8.
Well, where's the scoring going to come from outside of Foster?
Rayhan for 3, way off the mark. Shot clock at 2, trying to save it was Dowdell, but it's either out of bounds or a shot clock violation. One way or the other, it ends up with Gonzaga.
Well, it's interesting, Trasolini has not even looked for a shot when he was right there shooting it, because remember, he's been stripped twice and then had his shot blocked. So without him now, this is when Foster's really going to have to raise up and start leading them offensively. But again, make sure they're good shots. They're balanced shots in the flow of the offense.
Heitfeld tried to go backdoor, broken up by Rayhan, and it went off Heitfeld. Well, again, let's take a look at what Kerry Keating had us track tonight. 12 or fewer turnovers. They haven't turned it over in the second half yet. They're still out rebounding Gonzaga.
And Bob, this is a respectable performance. They've come out and they've played well. This home crowd has had something to cheer about. They have not been dusted or just run off the court like the last time they played. And that's all you can ask for, to keep grinding, keep plugging away until Big John Bryant can get back in there for him.
Foster hits a 3.
Now, what would you like about that shot? It was turned over. He came up, squared up, and took a good balanced shot.
Golden can't answer. With Bryant on the bench, Santa Clara has a chance to build the lead.
Again, for Foster, this is a shooter's dream. You get a chance to take your shots, and you're not getting pulled out if you miss it. So take your time and be patient.
Evan Foster now has 20 points to lead all scorers.
And a good shot right there. That was a good shot. Squared up, shoulders, follow through. And it was a balanced shot. They turned the ball over as well. That wasn't a quick, hurried shot. It takes a while. I remember my freshman year, I was the leading scorer for my team at the University of Maryland. Buck Williams had already gone pro, third in the draft. And Lefty lived and died with a lot of the shots that I took. and you can't really have a conscience. And Foster is not worried about what he misses or makes.
In and out as he looked for another three. I think Lefty might have died a little more than lived that year.
I'm trekking with the young fella. I'm understanding what he's doing.
Olden lost his footing, and that's a traveling violation. Mark Few thought he was fouled, and that might have been what threw him off balance.
Different from the Portland game when Gonzaga played. Remember the first 3 possessions, the game was over. In hand, remember it was a 1-point game at halftime. For the Broncos, they've been able to make shots and come down and keep Gonzaga off balance. That's why they're in this game and have the lead. Again, who's going to score for the Broncos? They got to trust the offense.
Nice look underneath, and Tressolini draws the foul. That play made by Perry Petty. A simple little pick and roll.
Well, we were saying, outside of Foster, who can get his own shot, for everyone else, they've got to trust the offense with a good play right here, misdirection, and a drop-off. Now, for Tressolini, he's got to be strong, tuck that ball into his hip, and then the last thing he's got to show is when he's getting ready to shoot it. He's exposing it too much for the defense.
Olden called for the foul. That's his first. Well, it's not like Santa Clara hasn't been here before. They're 14-15 on the season. But of their 15 losses, 13 have been by 8 or less, 7 have been by 4 or less, and they've had 12 losses where it's come down to the last couple of possessions. In those 12 losses, they've had a double-digit lead or a lead in the last minute of 9 of the 12. So they have played a ton of close games. They just haven't gotten over the top and won any of them.
Well, Terry Keating was saying that now for his freshmen, because he's got 3 freshmen playing big minutes, they've got an idea on what they want to do. Pay attention to detail, not turn the ball over, get the right shot.
Mark Few called that timeout from the bench as Micah Downs had nowhere to go. 12:27 to go in regulation time. Number 17 in a tussle on the road. Showcase presented by T. Rowe Price, part of Judgment Week here on ESPN. And Adrian takes us inside the play.
Well, Foster has been their bread and butter while John Bryant's out. And he comes down here under control. He's a freshman. He looks for a shot. Watch him right here in the corner. He's going to come up off a double screen, but you appreciate the patience. They're letting the play develop. The shot clock's been moving for a while. This is their second option. And look at this burst right here where he comes off the screen. His defender is back, and he's into his shot. No chance of blocking it. Very good shot. That's what you want to do consistently. But again, this is iffy right now because Foster is learning on the job.
He's got 20 points, 8 of 17 from the field, in double figures for the 20th time this season, and the 10th time he's gone over 20. He's actually now gone over 20 in 4 of the last 5 games for Santa Clara. Shot clock, pardon me, down to 7 for this shotgun offense.
Shotgun, okay. Football anyone?
And they realize Heidfeld's got it, shot clock in 1, it goes to 0, it's a shot clock violation.
Now I'm seeing something. This is the second time that Gonzaga has fallen asleep on a shot clock violation. That's a good call. Never should have happened. Now for their aspirations, they want to go far in the tournament. They want to get a 3 or 4 seeding. You got to pay attention and not give away possessions like that.
Mark Few a moment ago had the look on his face of a coach whose team had a shot clock violation coming out of a timeout.
Well, remember, this is a character game for them because they've already wrapped up regular season dominance.
don't understand what paintball is. You're gonna cut into a paintball so
The quarter pounder was cheap.
So Ben Wallace out for a while, and the Stars are out tonight. Ronnie Turiev taking in Gonzaga at Santa Clara. All part of Judgment Week here on ESPN. Under 12 minutes to go, a 3-point lead for Santa Clara, and they have brought the big guy back in. John Bryant has the ball, playing with 3 fouls. Petty with the left hand. And Bryant has to be careful. Almost went over the back of Micah Downs and picked up a cheap one. Nice feed inside. Heitfeld from Dimitri Goodson.
John Bryant was saying that would be a challenge for him because he's not a natural runner. He's a grinder. He comes out and he doesn't run the court as good as Heitfeld. So Dowdell will have to take him until he can get back.
Foul called on Downs. That's his second. He's the first player to pick up second personal foul for Gonzaga, so they have no one in foul trouble.
Micah is a legitimate 6'8". I'm one of those optional 6'8", 6'7.5". You know, you familiar with that, Bob?
Kind of like how I'm an optional 215. A kick called on Goodson.
Yeah, but see, you play hockey in your off time, so
Well,
I'm
yeah,
impressed.
The definition of a stay-at-home defenseman.
Oh, goodness.
I skate up the rink about as fast as John Bryant runs up the court.
You think I can play with you guys? Come out there. What position would I be?
I'd like to see it. Bryant, good position inside.
I'd like to see a well-run play, and they finally got that. John was able to use that big body and get position at point-blank range.
Goodson pulls up. Downs, offensive rebound, can't hit. And inside it's Dowdell.
Right now, the Broncos are showing a toughness. You want to get a good shot in this possession.
Foster, no good. And Downs has the rebound. For a moment, Gonzaga had numbers. And now it's Goodson.
They made the switch now. John Bryant's got to check Micah Downs. I'd isolate him and run the offense through whoever he's checking.
Nice steal by Rehan. And it's off Rehan out of bounds. Well, that Santa Clara bench thought that the ball was actually knocked out by Gray.
Well, you love the effort right there. The quick hands, the running in traffic. And this is nothing but effort. It's what you call a hustle play.
Ooh, that might have gone off the foot of Goodson.
They missed the call on that one. Come on over to our screen here.
A break for Gonzaga as Dimitri Goodson actually kicked that ball out of bounds. Heitfeld draws the foul. That's the 4th foul on Ben Dowdell. Judgment Week in men's college basketball continues on ESPN this Saturday, first at noon. In the Big East, it's Georgetown against the Wildcats. Number 12, Villanova and Scotty Reynolds take on the Hoyas. And then at 9 Eastern, out to the Pac-10. Number 19, UCLA taking on the Golden Bears of Cal. Men's college basketball, all part of Judgment Week on ESPN. Afternoon and evening this Saturday.
Now you're seeing strategy here. For the last 2 minutes, John Bryant's been coming in and out, especially on the offensive end, so he can occupy space with those 3 fouls. And this is the first time Ira Brown will be coming in after this free throw by Heitfeld.
A back tap by Downs. Gray has the loose ball. Downs from way outside, can't hit. And the rebound in traffic to Kevin Foster. So Santa Clara holds on to the 2-point lead. Past the midway point of the second half, a matchup in the West Coast Conference between Gonzaga, undefeated at 12-0 in the conference, and Santa Clara. Straightaway 3. Off the mark for Calvin Johnson. Pablo Schuster and Adrian Branch at the Levy Center just outside of San Jose here in Santa Clara, and it has been nip and tuck all night between these two teams.
Now for John Bryant, he's got to have a soft. He got away with a hook.
The follow by Heitfeld off the miss from Bolden.
Yeah. But for Bolden, he got away with a hook before that missed shot. For the Broncos, they've got to keep their composure, have a calm about them.
Step back three. Air ball from Foster. Kerry Keating went ballistic looking for basket interference on the last putback by Josh Heitfeld. And does Bolden hook on his way to the basket?
Well, right here in traffic, not here, but on the spin move, that was a hold right there with that thigh to free him up. Now that one looked like it was still on the rim.
I think so too. I think that one was coming off though. I think both non-calls have been right by the officials on the Heitfeld foul.
I would disagree with you. Respectfully disagree with your partner.
I'm just bitter because of all the basket interferences I've been called for. You know, when I go up there, I don't follows. Bolden on the weak side with the putback. Gonzaga has the lead back with 8:40 to go. Gonzaga
got the lead back through effort and intensity and a sameness. Now, I would quickly go to John Bryant because the 6'4" Ira Brown cannot check John Bryant in the post.
A foul called on Ira Brown, holding Bryant. How about this putback by Matt Bolden?
All right, let's see what you got here. This one was a good play on the weak side, using his strength. And Bolden can score from all over the three-point line, off the dribble, free throws. Any way you can score, he's able to do that. And he does it with a motor going full speed.
That's Brown's first, fourth on the team here in the second half, and a turnover. Bolden. Day drives it, and the foul will be called, I believe, on Bryant. That'll be number 4. Nope, they got away with Bryant not being called for the foul. They're actually going to call it on Trasolini.
Austin Day is in his element when he's off the dribble because he can see the defense coming in.
Wow, there was certainly not a foul on Trasolini there. So maybe the glass is half full or half empty. They could have called a foul on John Bryant, which would have been his 4th. Instead of calling the foul on Bryant, they called it on Trasolini. But if you go back and look at the replay, Trasolini never touched Austin Day. 1 of 2 at the line for Day.
Now for the Broncos, they're down 3. They were leading for a good portion of this. But this is a time when you have to execute your offense. You have to take your time and know that you're at home.
Foster almost lost the dribble.
Too much dribbling. Three freshmen coming out here in the big time trying to upset the #1 team in the conference.
Rayhan plus the foul. A chance for the old-fashioned three-point play to tie the game.
Driving in traffic, the concentration, excellent job with an opportunity to try to tie it up at home.
A lot of close games. We've got a close one here on the Thursday Night Showcase, presented by T. Rowe Price. Part of Judgment Week here on ESPN, a 1-point game in the West Coast Conference between Gonzaga and Santa Clara. Some other scores tonight in the West Coast Conference. San Diego beats Portland, and St. Mary's wins again over Pepperdine. That puts the Gales at 9-4, and they now tie San Diego for 2nd place behind Gonzaga. And remember, when we get to the West Coast Conference tournament, coming up a week and a half from now, that 2nd place team, whoever it is between Portland and St. Mary's, will get that much needed bye with Gonzaga to the semifinals.
Yeah, those two right there, you're exactly right. It's all about resting because you play 3 games in 3 days if you get that rest. If not, you're going 4 days.
Are you surprised at how well it seems St. Mary's has now adjusted to the loss of Patty Mills?
No, not at all, because they're a well-coached team. However, with the adjustment, they're still a very good team. With Patty Mills, let's not kid ourselves, they're a great team.
Rayhan ties the game with 7:50 to go. Only Memphis and Gonzaga are undefeated in conference play this season. Memphis did it on the road at UAB earlier on tonight, staying undefeated in Conference USA, and now Gonzaga at 12-0 in the West Coast Conference, trying to do the same, also on the road. Tough game here against Santa Clara. Gray from the corner. And out. The rebound pulled down by Bryant.
That was Stephen Gray's shot from the corner. He comes in and he has the green light to look for his offense. Good shot, but for John Bryant, grabbing those balls. Now, right now, it's execution time. It's all about pulling off a good, sharp, crisp offense to get yourself a high percentage shot.
Foster's shot blocked by Day in the corner.
Austin Day's able to recover. He's out of position, but quickly right there with that long arm reach to get there. Good defense.
10 on the shot clock for Santa Clara. Down to 7. Crowd lets Rayhan know he's got 4 to put it up. Rayhan fades away, off the mark. Offensive rebound for Bryant. Bolden with the hustle play to get around Bryant, and a 3-on-2. Up to Gray for the lay-in.
One thing I like about Gonzaga consistently throughout the game, they're like a shark with blood. If they see that, a turnover, they're out running. They're out trying to get a 3-on-2, 2-on-1 fast break, and they've been able to maintain that throughout the game.
Bryant catches it deep on Austin Day and reverses.
This is my first time seeing John Bryant live. And some of the people around the country that know basketball said, you're going to like the big fella because he's deceptively nimble for his size. He's got a little wiggle in his game on the offensive end.
Heitfeld with a sweet jumper right over Bryant.
And for the Broncos, they don't have a margin of error. They don't have 4 guys out on the floor, 5 right now, that can score from every position. So they've been hanging in here very well, and they're learning on the job. A mature performance.
Heitfeld flops. Down goes Bryant, and he's hurt. He is really hurting. Grabs his ankle. As Heitfeld went down, Bryant spun towards the goal and turned his right ankle. Can he walk it off?
You got over 14 feet of length down in the box. Their feet are trying to get untangled.
Right there, he turned his ankle as it ended up on the top of Heitfeld's foot.
2 big guys trying to make space. Called a power dance right there.
So Bryant goes to the bench. He'll lace the sneaker back up with 5:39 to go.
Now, one thing he can improve on is his footwork and his agility. He's got the size, he's got the length. He's never going to be a skywalker, but you don't need to be when you've got good spacing to go pursue that basketball.
Day in the post. Can't bank it home. Heitfeld's follow won't go. Pargo working the baseline. Boy, it changes when Bryant's not in the game on the offensive glass for Gonzaga.
Again, because there's no margin of error. But you just saw 3 people attacking. John's coming back in this game. You saw Pargo attack the rim. You saw Heitfeld and Austin Day.
John Bryant already at the scorer's table, set to come back on.
Well, he's ready to play this out. Coming down the home stretch, it's under 5 minutes to go.
Heitfeld lost it. Foster took it away. Rayhan in traffic. No foul called on Heitfeld. The lob, and Heitfeld with one hand misses, regathers, scores, plus the foul. And now a bottle gets thrown out on the court. A bottle of soda just got thrown out on the court from the student section. And that is the last thing you need to see. And now the officials are going to have to stop play and go over to the scorer's table and deal with that. I don't know if an announcement gets made, if it's a warning. I think the microphone is going to be taken by Kerry Keating.
Coach is doing it.
Hey, show some respect for both teams. All right, cheer them on. Don't throw anything on the floor ever again.
That's a good job by Kerry Keating.
We wanted to jump on that quickly.
Watch at the top of the screen. You'll see the bottle come flying out of the student section onto the court.
If they play the close-up, they might find out exactly who threw it.
And the officials are going to call a technical foul against Santa Clara, I believe, for the bottle being thrown on the floor. So while the officials discuss the penalty for the bottle being thrown, how about the play by Heitfeld?
Well, he's got good hands and agility. This was really a ball you didn't think he could get to, but he caught it. Again, the second effort. And again, the value of a big guy that can run the floor. Good things happen because the last line of defense is usually a guard. 7 feet versus 6'1", the 7-footer usually gets it.
So Matt Bolden shoots free throws as the crowd costs potentially their own team 2 points. And Bolden hits them both. And now Heitfeld will shoot to try and complete the 3-point play. And after all is said and done, this could turn out to be a 5-point trip.
Well, what happens with a good team? They have another gear that their opponent doesn't have. The Broncos are going along, and they're grinding out, trying to find offense, trying to give everything they have. John Bryant goes out, and then they make this run on it.
That's a 5-point play for Gonzaga, and it stretches the lead to 67-58, a 9-0 run. Knocks down a 3. Big shot for the Broncos. And a quick timeout called by Kerry Keating.
That's a simple play if you can trust your teammates. The ball goes into John Bryant and forces the defense to have to play him. See that double team right there? And he passes it out. Textbook offense. The double team and the repost, but knocking down the shot. That's what you do. Rayhan is the best on this team that will get him the ball. He is aware of his big guy feeding it to him.
Friday night, ESPN shoots you an NBA doubleheader at 7 Eastern. Allen Iverson and the Pistons will take on Dwight Howard and the Magic. Then at 9:30 Eastern, we'll see LeBron and Cleveland taking on the San Antonio Spurs. NBA Friday on ESPN, also on ESPN360.com. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. There's a former MVP hoisting the trophy as a member of the Phoenix Suns. His number retired here at Santa Clara. Ani Turiaf, as we showed you, watching the game tonight as well. 4:17 to go. Santa Clara, with that last 3 by Rayhan, pulls within 6, but this was a game that Santa Clara was either within a couple or leading for the better part of the second half until a 9-0 run a moment ago by Gonzaga, fueled in part by someone in the student section throwing a soda bottle out onto the floor. That resulted in a technical. Matt Bolden hit a couple. Gonzaga trying to go undefeated in the West Coast Conference. We've seen a lot of tournament MVPs as well wear that Bulldog uniform. AC Cavalry, Dan Dickow in 2001 and 2002. A brief respite for Jason Keefe in 2003 for USD, and right back to Turiaf for the Bulldogs. Adam Morrison won it a couple of times. Eric Rivio in 2007. And then Brandon Johnson last season, and what a shame it was to see him get hurt, knocked out for the year for San Diego this year.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see what San Diego could do if they had a full deck. They didn't have that at all season long, and they've been sputtering.
Pargo, a 3. Off the mark. An easy offensive rebound for Bolden.
The good thing about Gonzaga, when they're playing well, they have 5 guys on the offensive end that can score for you. So it's hard to defend everybody. You've only got 5 defenders. When they're playing well, somebody is left one-on-one. They turn the ball over, but you got to get it inside. Go quick.
Bryant double teamed by 2 bigs. Tough to see. Finds Rayhan for 3. In and out. Heitfeld just about lost it. Corralled by Day before it flopped out of bounds.
I like what I saw with Mark Few. He said you can't run the same kind of defense against John Bryant. So what did they do first time this game? They sent big guy to double team him, trying to give him a different look.
5th double-double of the year for Josh Heitfeld. This might be his best game of the season.
Well, he's met the challenge. There was a big guy. They're going for who's the best big guy in this conference, and he's met the challenge tonight. And his teammates helped him out also by knocking down shots.
And he hits a three. 26 points for Josh Heitfeld. Sorry, 29 points now for Heitfeld. Well, what a night he's had.
He's come with a monster effort. And again, for Gonzaga, they've cracked the code within this conference. But it's about on the national circuit, can they erase the memory in people's mindset of Memphis, two undefeated teams? And you say, well, Memphis played Gonzaga, they got the best of them. Will they raise their game to go beyond the Sweet 16?
Rehan drives it, draws the foul. He'll shoot a couple of free throws. Down by 9 with 2:18 to go. And we'll step aside. A new career high for Josh Heitfeld. 29 points. He's done it inside and outside.
Stretching it out, comfortable at the three-point line, nothing but net.
Got a 9-point game here at Santa Clara, Will. Number 17, Gonzaga, in Judgment Week, passing another test. There's a reason that they are so good on the road. They've won their last 8 here at Santa Clara. They're 7-1 in true road games this season. Only UConn is undefeated this year in true road games in America. They've got the best point differential, does Gonzaga, and any team in true road games this season. They win true road games by an average of about 13 points a game. They just know how to handle themselves in this atmosphere.
Well, they were patient as well. They let the game come to them. The Broncos were giving them their best shot. They were absorbing it, and they still did not deviate from what they wanted to do. Move it around and get it to open shooters, and defensively, any opportunity, get out and make Santa Clara chasing.
Santa Clara put together a run in the last 2 minutes.
Santa Clara gave everything they had. This has been a good game for them. They've represented themselves well. Gonzaga just has a little more firepower at every position.
Something else just threw onto the floor. A little piece of foil or something balled up was just tossed from the student section onto the floor, and now one of the officials spots it and has to go over and pick it up. That came out of the student section as well, right behind us. That might be another technical foul.
Well, they're checking on that now. Again, no matter what you might be feeling, again, you've got to have a uniform behavior, and you can't throw anything out here on the floor. That's very dangerous.
The officials finally spotted it, but it definitely flew out of the stands above our heads. And now some of the students, I guess, trying to point out to security which student it was that threw the object on the floor. That might be another technical foul, and it is. That's another technical foul that Gonzaga will now be able to shoot free throws because someone from the student section was dumb enough to throw something on the floor.
Yeah, at some point you got to recognize that you're costing your team more than just an announcement. You got to throw these folks out of here. That's hard when it's been a key game, and that's something that the players can't control, fan behavior.
And Bolden gets them both to go. And now Gonzaga will get the ball once again as they are trying to stay undefeated in West Coast Conference play. It's number 17 Gonzaga here at Santa Clara. Bob Wischusen and Adrian Branch with you on the Thursday Night Showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. 72-63, the Zags have the lead. And they've got the ball back after a couple of made free throws. The second half technical that's been called against the Santa Clara fans for throwing something on the floor. And it ends up being a 4-point trip. It was a 5-point trip last time as Pargo scored.
Well, they were able to create separation. Because of the offensive balance by Gonzaga. They have everyone, they're patient, they take their time, and they trust each other on the road.
Can't hit, Day the rebound, and now with 1:25 to go, Pargo walks it up, and Gonzaga very much in control. And a foul given by Kevin Foster. That's only the 6th team foul on the Broncos, so that was their last foul to give. Now it'll be a 1-and-1.
When the game mattered, The Broncos did a fantastic job of trying to hang in there. But again, John Bryant missed a lot of time, key time, because of fouls. But again, a good team just keeps coming at you, coming at you, coming at you. And that's what Gonzaga did. They're going to have to put the same kind of performance up when they go on a national scale outside of their conference.
Matt Bolden will now go to the line. A 1-and-1.
Bob Highfeld was big time. He came outside of himself. He raised his game, and this is what a lot of people have been waiting on for this young man, because he can run, he can shoot, he's got great size. You don't have to get any bigger, but he was focused in, and he met the challenge against Bryant today.
Second straight game, Highfeld set a career high at 28 against Pepperdine on Saturday. And 29 tonight, breaks his own career high in the next game. Gasolini with the pump fake and a chance for a three-point play.
Now for Austin Day, if you foul, you don't want to give him an and one. Hold his hands from getting up to the basket. You don't want to give him a cheap one. Nice play by Bryant, unselfish play. And then for Austin, you've got to finish that play by not letting him get the shot off.
A missed free throw. So it's a 10-point game with under a minute to go now. And the foul given in the backcourt. Bolden will shoot free throws again.
Personal foul, assessment number 3, Calvin Johnson, his third. Santa Clara's 18th foul.
Calvin Johnson called for his third. College basketball final will follow our game as soon as we're done here at Santa Clara.
Now there's two positions out there for Santa Clara that was respectable. The center position, even though Highfeld had a big-time performance, and Foster when he was knocking down shots. The other three positions, they were at risk.
Ryan's tip follow makes it an 8-point game.
Running.
Timeout, Santa Clara.
And with 48 seconds to go, Santa Clara calls their third timeout. So they still have a couple of timeouts left. During this timeout, it gives us a chance to take a look at some of the pictures of today. Some sights from Santa Clara. It's been a fun place to be tonight.
Oh, it's a pretty place, pretty area.
You see how happy we are to be here?
Count me in, Bob, count me in.
Well, the student section, for the most part, has been a lot of fun to be a part of. Spirited since the start, tried to impact the game. It was a great atmosphere, but there have been a couple of times where a couple of bad apples have spoiled the bunch for that student section here at Santa Clara. They've thrown two objects on the court. A half-filled soda bottle caused one technical foul to be called, and then someone balled up a roll of tinfoil, threw that out on the court, and the officials called another technical foul against the crowd, and Matt Bolden hit all 4 of those free throws, and those 4 points right now loom very large in this game as Day is quickly fouled by Rehan.
For Gonzaga, if they can knock down free throws now, they're going home with a win. But it's about the free throws, and again, the other undefeated team that played today, Memphis, was able to play and knock down their free throws against a spirited UAB team. This was a big game for Gonzaga because they wrapped up the conference, and you knew that Santa Clara was going to come in and give them their best shot.
No good for Day.
Second
Maybe
miss.
A little light for Santa Clara.
Got to go quick, though. This is time you got to put on the Jets.
Foster, a deep three. Off the mark. That was a shot that the Broncos really needed to have, as Rehan gives another foul, this time on Micah Downs.
Now, it'll be interesting to see how many free throws that Foster had for Santa Clara, because that's a time where you want to go to the basket. And again, as a young player, it's just recognition. 1 for 1 at the free throw line. For all the shooting that you're doing, get yourself going to the basket.
Another miss at the free throw line, though, for the Zags. Two misses for Downs. The quick hitter, Rehan with the reverse. Timeout called by Kerry Keating. And the lead is down to 6 with 31 seconds to go. Still a timeout for Santa Clara. Gonzaga has the possession arrow, but they keep missing free throws. They're keeping Santa Clara alive.
Absolutely, you're taking advantage of opportunities. Gonzaga is not closing the door, and they got a quick score on this. Throwing it up, I like the decision to go up, and then a quick score right here, stopping the clock. That's a well-run play.
And the Bulldogs fell asleep a little bit, left Rehan alone. And that's not something that normally a team that has won as much as they have won will do. And boy, have they won. In the West Coast Conference under Mark Few, decade by decade, it just keeps getting better and better, and they win 81% of their games in this decade. And Mark Few, in his career, 257 and 65, nearly 80%, just a couple of thousandths underneath an 80% career win percentage, second only to Roy Williams among active coaches in career win percentage. And again, a look at the tournament resume for Gonzaga.
Well, that's good, that 39, and then undefeated as well. So even if they lost from now till March Madness, they would still get a good seed.
Bolden fouled with 28.6 seconds to go.
You just mentioned that Mark Few won 80% of his games. He's got talent, and he's organized, well organized. Everybody has a role. They share the basketball, and they defend.
College basketball final coming up next. You always hear Mark Few's name mentioned for potential West Coast coaching opportunities, and you wonder if he would ever actually think about leaving Gonzaga, what the job would be that would lure him away. And I heard John Shabby and Doug Gottlieb and Tom Brennan on the Xavier game earlier tonight talking about Sean Miller, the same kind of thing. You know, maybe instead of wishing for one of those BCS conference jobs, you just stay at Xavier. You built yourself a little palace there.
Yeah, he's comfortable. His family's comfortable. He's got a newborn baby, so, you know, he enjoys coming on the road so he can get some rest, he was telling you.
Rehan flips it up, and it rolls home with 15 seconds to go, and Keating calls his last timeout.
As Santa Clara looks back on this game, you can see that technical foul from the crowd that cost them 5 points. So there's there's 5 points there, and then a basket coming down. The shot selection throughout the game could have been better for Santa Clara, but again, that's saying you live with the three-pointer, you die with the three-pointer. And with a young backcourt that's handling the ball and taking a lot of shots, John Bryant only had 9. He was 7 for 9, very efficient, but you got to let the offense run through him consistently.
Bryant maybe not as involved in the offense as he could have been, though, and it looks like Gonzaga is going to stay right with Memphis in terms of conference unbeatens. They're the only 2 in the country. Princeton, by the way, with a couple of honors for Pete Carrill. They named the court at Jadwin after Pete Carrill. And Blake Griffin, his status still uncertain for Saturday's game against Texas Tech, a game that will be shown on ABC as Micah Downs is fouled by Kevin Foster with 13.5 seconds to go.
Well, for Blake Griffin, late in the season, I wouldn't put him back out there until he's ready, and they can't anyway put him out there until he's ready.
True. The concern, though, for Oklahoma is without Blake Griffin, if you continue to struggle and lose games,
the seeding.
Yeah, you might go from a 1 seed, at least off the 1 line down to the 2 line, and who knows, if you really struggle all the way into the Big 12 tournament, you can drop down to the 3 line.
Yeah, but a lot to do about nothing, because if you can play, you can play. And I don't see a lot of teams, when they're at full strength, beating them outside of a possible Pittsburgh or UConn. But it depends on what team shows up on that as well.
From North Carolina in that discussion as well. They're pretty talented. I know a Maryland guy doesn't want to give the Tar Heels any props.
Oh, no, if you're good, you're good. But the thing that's fascinating, this is a fan's dream, because you don't know anybody can win it this year.
So followed by Trasolini. Down to the last 5 seconds. Bolden fouled by Foster, delaying the inevitable. Well, again, the battle for the bye, the last couple of games in the West Coast Conference for Portland and St. Mary's still remaining. Which of these 2 teams is going to end up in second place behind Gonzaga? Portland, a couple of road games, tough places to play at San Diego and Santa Clara. The road much easier for St. Mary's against Pepperdine and Loyola Marymount.
one strength of Gonzaga is their offensive balance. If they're balanced, and they're one of the taller teams in this conference. They may be the tallest team overall in this conference. And how good would they be if they could get Robert Sacre back?
Well, the start tonight for Gonzaga, second consecutive game that Josh Heitfeld comes up with a new career high, and Mark Few has career win number 258, and perhaps the best game considering the atmosphere and the opponent. John Bryant squared off with Josh Heitfeld, and Heitfeld came away the start tonight. He was magnificent with 29 points and 9 rebounds. So Gonzaga wins again in the West Coast Conference. One win away from an undefeated season for the third time in the last 6 years. 81-73 is our final. College basketball final is coming up next. For more on our game, you can tune to ESPN News for a post-game extra. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For our entire crew, so long from Santa Clara.